Well, hello everyone out there on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We have started also our Instagram Live show too. So you guys, if you want to see a different angle of the show, you can go over there to Instagram as well. But we're really glad to see you guys here on Facebook today because we're going to be doing something a little bit different today, and that is talking about other animals besides the ones that we have. So how I'm going to do that is actually by sharing photos of the animals right next to me here or here. I can't remember where it shows up. One of these sides is where the screen will show up and you can hear about and see the animals that I'm talking about in the program. So before I forget to tell you all the things, my name is Amanda. This is Once in a Wild. Welcome to our new backdrop. Do you like the purple backdrop? We really, really like it. It's a nice blank slate. I have a little area right here where I might be able to set an animal down too. This is just something I've created last minute. But the purple backdrop I think looks really, really pretty. But we're Once in a Wild. We're a live animal, what are we? We're a live animal outreach company, and that means that we take live animals to classroom presentations, to birthday parties, to nursing homes for animal therapy, etc. And also photo opportunities as well, something that we've done too. Really, really fun. All of those things are not possible right now to do in person, so we're bringing to you, we're bringing the zoo to you anyway through virtual means like Facebook live stream and YouTube Live and Instagram Live as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. La la la. You guys are really excited for the show. Let's get started. Okay, well, are you guys excited for the show? Let's see who's already here. Looks like Emma and Liam are here with William. It's so good to see you, William. Nice to see you once again. And that's all I have chiming in so far. Hi, Donna, of course. And if anybody else is out there watching, feel free to get in on Facebook live stream and give me some comments to let me know that the kiddos are watching. Let me know who's watching. And if you guys are enjoying it, if there's any issues with it, how does it look? How does it sound? All the things, you let me know. And please make sure to ask me any questions that you may have about the animals we're talking about today, or any other animal questions that you may have. You can try to stump me with your questions, something for me to look up later for you or something like that. I always try to answer your questions live here on the live feed. And if I can't, I try to get back to the questions later by typing in the answer. So sometimes I do a little bit of research for you guys. Jorge is here. Jamie is here, Donna is here, and tagging so many friends. If you guys want to tag your friends to join in as well, that's really helpful. And you can also share these videos as well. On Facebook and YouTube, they're uploaded afterwards so that you guys can watch them again if you want to. So today we thought we would change it up a little bit. We know you guys love the animal programs, but we thought we would talk about some other animals that I have worked with in my past. So a little bit about me. I have been working with animals for about 18 years, and I started off working at like pet stores and veterinary clinics and things like that. Then I went to work at SeaWorld for a while. I was actually an animal tour guide, and I handled some animals over there, and I talked to lots and lots of people every single day. I was an educator over there and did a lot of work with them and really, really loved working there. And then I decided to change my career. So after working at SeaWorld was actually the inspiration for me to go back to school. My original degree is actually in photography. So I have I went to school for that first, and then I decided I wasn't going to do that anymore. I started working at a vet clinic and really liked that, but it wasn't quite what I wanted to do 100%. Then after working at SeaWorld is when I actually decided what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So I went back to school later for zoology, got my zoology degree, and then I started working in zoos, aquariums, and places like that. And now we have our own animal outreach company where we can bring the zoo to you, whether it be virtually like this or in person. So that is what I do now. But that's just a brief history. So let's talk a little bit about some of the animals I used to work with. So we're going to talk about mammals first. So I thought I would bring a mammal just to supplement what we're talking about. So each category that we're going to talk about today, we're going to have an animal, a live animal as well. So first we're going to meet her. This is Laverne. You guys met Shirley before, her sister Shirley. This is Laverne today. I thought I would try her out today. She's a little bit bigger than her sister. So Laverne is an African hedgehog. These are sometimes called the African pygmy hedgehog. And they are really, really cool. These guys come from Africa. They are a small species. This is as big as they get. In fact, Laverne here is very, very large for an African hedgehog. I'm going to prevent her from jumping off the edge here. Lost our camera, but I'll be right back. All right, don't worry, guys. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. And we're back. Kind of. Wrong camera. But we are back. There we go. We're back. That's much better. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Beautiful. Okay, we'll make sure that doesn't happen again. I hope. If it does, I'm so sorry. So Laverne here, like I said, is an African hedgehog. Some people call them the African pygmy hedgehog because they are so small. And some people call them the African four-toed hedgehog because they got 4 toes. So she's really, really cute. She is, like I said, from Africa. Well, she's not. She's from Texas. But her species is from Africa. These guys have one main defense, and you probably know what it is, and that's going to be their spines. So these spines on her body are going to protect her from predators, right? So those predators can be things like owls. Owls are their main predator. African hedgehogs are nocturnal species, so they are out at night, and so are owls. And owls actually have specialized talons, or their toenails, that they can come over here and grab the hedgehog without touching the spine, and they can actually bring them to another location to eat them at their leisure. But that is the main predator of the African hedgehog. So she's going to be out with us while we're talking about mammals. How's that? And if you guys have any hedgehog questions, have I been here this whole time? Can y'all see me now? Am I just now showing back up? Or have I been here talking about hedgehogs the whole time? I sure hope I have. If not, this is Laverne, the African pygmy hedgehog. These guys are from Africa, and their main defense is their spines. Their main predators are owls. Owls are their main predators. So sorry that I haven't been here. If I haven't, thank you so much for joining in once again. We're going to start over, aren't we? Well, we're going to talk about mammals now and some of the mammals that I worked with in the past. How's that? And how we're going to do that is actually by sharing another screen on my computer. So we have a hedgehog here, but let's see if we can see another mammal. Let's change our backdrop to a more basic backdrop. There we go. And again, Laverne's going to be here as well this whole time to see you guys. There we go. That's better. So this animal right here on the screen next to me on this side, I can't tell which side is which. On this side, for those of you on Facebook and YouTube, you can see a porcupine. And now the porcupine and the hedgehog are not related. They're not related, but they have a very, very similar defense, don't they? So a hedgehog has spines. Have I been on here this whole time? Good. I'm so happy. With new technology, sometimes I don't know. So these hedgehogs have spines, right? And porcupines have quills. So this, by the way, is Chuck. And Chuck was a prehensile-tailed porcupine. He actually passed away a few years ago. He was a very, very old man porcupine. I worked with him at the school that I went to when I got my zoology degree over at Santa Fe College Teaching Zoo. He was everybody's favorite porcupine over there. And he's a prehensile-tailed porcupine, so that means that he lived in the trees. So these guys are a South American species. The hedgehog is from Africa. And there we are working together. You can see me and Chuck working together. Laverne doesn't know where she's going or what she's doing. She's running around all over the place. And these guys have a long tail. I know you can't see it in the photo, but they have a long tail that they can use as a prehensile limb. So that is like a 5th limb for them. They have all 4 feet as well. But the prehensile-tailed porcupine also has a prehensile tail, just like a monkey does. These guys are really, really special. They're from South America. And they're really, really cool. They're very, very personable. They are rodents. So one big difference between the hedgehog and the porcupine is what family group they come from. So the hedgehog is actually from the shrew family. And so they're not related to the porcupine because they're not rodents. Rodents have ever-growing incisor teeth. They have to wear them down their entire life and they never stop growing. That's a difference between a rodent and a shrew-like mammal, right? So the hedgehog has uniform teeth that kind of look like an opossum's teeth, and they're very, very spiky. And hedgehogs are insectivores instead of rodents. So the porcupine, though, like the prehensile-tailed porcupine, which is what Chuck is here in the photo. Oh, I see what the problem is, guys. She had to go to the restroom. I should listen to our animals. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna wash my hands too. She's trying to tell me she had to go to the restroom. When you gotta go, huh? That's okay. Sometimes animals have to go to the bathroom too. So he was really, really awesome to work with. One of my favorite species in the entire world is the prehensile-tailed porcupine, and they are just a joy to work with. He was trained, so he was actually trained to do a lot of different cool things. He was target trained, which means that you have like a, oh, there we go again. Hey, she's just a pooping machine today. Have you got it out of your system yet? I'm gonna throw that away right here. And wash my hand again. What a silly girl you are today, Laverne. So anywho, the African, the prehensile-tailed porcupine that I worked with, his name was Chuck, and he was target trained. And that means you have like a stick with a ball on the end of it or something. You can use your hand as a target too. You might have seen that with dolphins at SeaWorld, for example. They use their hand for a target all the time. You're just not comfortable sitting on top of that platform? That's okay. And he would put his nose to the target, and that way we could move him from point A to point B. He was trained to go into his kennel when we needed to move him. As you might imagine, holding a porcupine is pretty hard. Holding a hedgehog is pretty hard too, but a hedgehog doesn't have as severe of quills or spines that a porcupine does. So some of these porcupine species that live in the Americas, like the prehensile-tailed porcupines from South America, those guys have barbs on the end of their quills, which is a big difference between them and the hedgehog. But there are some porcupines, like in Africa, for example, that don't have barbs on the end of their quills. So do we have any questions so far about the prehensile-tailed porcupine that I work with? His name is Chuck. We're gonna let Laverne settle down for a little bit. Let's see what kind of questions we have or who's chiming in now. Oh my goodness, so many of you are watching. I'm so excited. Let's go back to Chuck's cute picture so you guys can see his face. He's so cute. So these guys have a very, very big nose that is very, very soft. It's like a big marshmallow, but it's brown. And it's very squishy and very, very soft. So he was just adorable. They have little hands. You can see his little hands. And right then in that photo, I think he's finishing holding up a piece of bread that he was eating. Chuck was an old man, so he had to get medicine every day. And how we would give him his medicine was we would put it in some bread and put a little peanut butter and the medicine in there, and he would just eat it like a little sandwich. It was adorable. Okay, guys. I get so distracted by our cute animals, even if they're a photo. La la la. Cooper is here with Monica. I'm so happy to see you. Cooper is here. Hooray. Who else is coming in? Suzette, I believe. Or maybe you just tagged Suzette. Mary says hi. Hi, Mary. Mary really likes porcupine. She's a friend of mine. Good. I'm glad we're doing well. I think I really like this purple backdrop. It's really, really pretty. And this is Sevi watching too. Maybe Mary and Sevi. Maybe just Sevi. Hi, Sevi. And mom says she loves the porcupine. Yes, that is my mom, by the way, tuning in. She's very supportive. Thank you for tagging everyone. Does anybody have questions on Instagram? I'm going to see if anybody has questions. Don't forget that if you are on Instagram, I recommend going over to Facebook today or YouTube so you can see our photos that we're talking about. So yeah, this is old man Chuck. Chuck was a really cool animal to work with. I learned a lot from working with him. This was actually at our school that I went to get my zoology, and he taught me a lot about porcupines and patience and how adorable porcupines are. They're definitely my favorite rodent species. They are amazing animals. And as you can see, he's just adorable. This was me kind of feeding him a little bit of peanut butter, I think, on a spoon, which how can you get any cuter than that? It's super cute. Oh, I hope nobody's angry at me. I have a little angry emoji. Definitely don't want that. Sorry if I made anybody mad. So, and there's Chuck getting, like I said, he's getting target trained. He's also getting clicker trained. You see this hand right here? This is a friend of mine's hand, and she was training with him. Some of us trained him, and she's using a little clicker to use positive reinforcement. So sometimes we use what's called a bridge. A bridge is just the word in between what you're asking of the animal and the behavior. So when you're animal training, you have to say you want them to just go from here to there. If you just want them to go here from there, or here to there, you have your target. But as soon as they put their nose to the target, that is whenever you are going to click with the clicker. So if you say the word target and he goes boop, and you click, and that's basically a bridge that tells the animal that they did the right thing, and then they can get the treat. So the bridge is the word or the sound from from when you ask for the behavior to the behavior. Because sometimes if they do it and then you can't, did I explain that right, guys? So when you use the clicker, that's basically telling the animal that their reward is coming. So it's between when they do the behavior and the reward. That's what I meant to say. Sorry if I'm confusing you guys. So the clicker tells them, yes, you did a good job. You can also just use the word good. You can use the word yes. You can say and do the same thing. You can pick your own, bridge, but that's what the bridge is. So a clicker is just a form of a bridge. For example, asking the porcupine to target, he puts his nose to the target, click, and then he gets the treat. Usually peanut butter or bread or something that he really likes. Bananas. Porcupines like a lot of really cute foods. He would eat a banana sandwich, peanut butter, bread, and banana sandwich sometimes, kind of like Elvis. But his name was Chuck. He was adorable. So then I went on to the San Antonio Zoo not too long after that. And again, we're just talking about mammals right now. I work with many, many different species of mammals my whole life, not just at the zoos and not just at the SeaWorld and not just at, San Antonio Zoo, all kinds of places, not just at school. But we'll get back to other species that I work with right after school, but right now we're just talking about mammals to have a category, if you will. So this was actually at San Antonio Zoo, right here in San Antonio, and this was a sweet little muntjac, and her name was Gina, and Gina was so sweet. She was actually bottle raised animal. So sometimes when you have to raise animals, you have to, their mom isn't taking care of them or something like that. They need to be bottle raised or hand raised by humans. And when you do that, a lot of times that they will actually acclimate towards humans a lot better. So Gina was actually a bottle raised muntjac, and a muntjac is a little miniature deer. So these guys are also known as the barking deer because they make barking noises, and I'm not kidding. They sound just like a dog. It's really cool. So she didn't do it very often. She kind of did it when she became impatient. Maybe I was bringing her food and I wasn't feeding her fast enough or something. And so she would actually bark at me to say, hurry up and feed me, kind of like a dog does sometimes. But it wasn't very often. She was actually very sweet. As you can see, she would come right up to me and kind of want to look at me in the face, and she loved to be fed by hand, and she was absolutely adorable. And these guys are very, very small. They're like the size of a small dog. They're maybe yay large and about this high. They're super duper cute, as you can see. That was one animal I worked with at San Antonio Zoo. This is another one of my favorite animals. It's called the babirusa. So babirusa are a type of pig. Oh, we do have a question. Let's take a question. Ricardo asks, how do you hold a porcupine? So some porcupines are a little bit more tolerant of holding, but I don't recommend holding a porcupine. You can hold a hedgehog carefully without getting totally hurt by their spines. And let's see if she's in a better mood now. But a porcupine is much more of a challenge to hold. Oh, Laverne. I usually bring Shirley because she seems a little bit more calm, but I wanted to give Laverne a chance too. It's very, very hard. So usually for a porcupine, you would have to either train them to go into a kennel or train them to go up onto a branch if they're a prehensile-tailed porcupine. She's leaving. She is 100% leaving. You're okay. You're okay. Settle down. You're all right. See, sometimes animals don't want to participate, and that's okay. If she doesn't want to, we're going to put her up. Maybe I'll just hold her. You hear her noises. So porcupines. So hedgehogs are nocturnal, and sometimes she gets a little bit overwhelmed, I think, being out here in the day with all these bright lights. You guys can't see all the lights, but there's a lot of bright lights out here. And Laverne has a little bit more of a sassy, stubborn personality than her sister Shirley. Shirley usually does pretty well. I think she's over it, y'all. That's okay. She's over it. She's over it. We'll just keep on talking about other animals. Oh, well, I tried. So you have to either train them to go into a kennel so you can lift the kennel and take the kennel, right, with you to wherever you're going, etc. So we would only do that for Chuck whenever we had to move him from point A to point B. But also sometimes animals are used for education, like my animals. And so sometimes you have to put them in a kennel to take them to their educational programs. So things like that. But since he was a tree climbing animal, we could bring his kennel and then he could climb onto a branch and then he'd be able to sit on the branch for a presentation. just like that. And that is a very good question because porcupines are dangerous. If you get punctured by one, that can be a very, very bad day. Absolutely. And there's Sophia. Hi, Sophia. Nice to see you with Bonnie. Monica says Cooper loves porcupines and hedgehogs. Yeah, they're both really, really cool. But oddly enough, they're not related. So other than being mammals, there's nothing that they have a relation with each other. Thank you guys for your patience today. Jamie says, I love purple too. Animal training is so interesting. I love the new format. Thank you. It's pretty fun. Okay. Very, very good. So back to the babirusa, which is the animal on screen here, right next to me. Here. That's where it is. It's over here. Guys, it's hard to tell. So it's over here. I know for you guys, it's like, well, duh. But for me, like, now I know where it's at. So the babirusa is a type of pig. And it's my favorite species of pig because they're so unusual. So these type of pigs live in Sulawesi, which is in Indonesia. They are endangered, and they are only from certain little islands in that region. And they are swimming pigs. They have kind of very different kind of splayed hooves. You can kind of see his hooves there, and you can see he's hanging out in the water. So Joe was this babirusa's name that I worked with at San Antonio Zoo. And Joe liked to get in the water and cool off on a hot summer day. They can swim really well. In the islands of Sulawesi, they can actually go from island to island. They're island hopping pigs, pretty cool. They can surf a little bit, pretty amazing. They also have almost no hair on their body to keep them from overheating in the hot islands of Indonesia where they live. And they don't have any natural predators. So these guys don't have any predators at all on the islands that they're from. So they're actually very, very chill and laid back. So working with babirusa was a lot of fun because they are very personable, because pigs are really smart. They're very trainable. They're a lot of fun. And also, they are not as skittish as other pigs. If you think about it, like warthogs and red river hogs and feral hogs that live here in Texas even, those guys have a lot of predators to worry about. But if you have no predators, you're probably a pretty laid back animal, aren't you? Because why would you be skittish and running away from things if you don't have anything to be eating you? Pretty cool. They also have these amazing tusks. So all pig species, to my knowledge, have tusks that they have in their mouth that are their teeth. And those are going to help them maybe defend themselves or fight off other male pigs, or to show off for the ladies, right? So the babirusa actually has the most extreme form of tusks of any pig. And they have the bottom ones that come out here and they stick up like this, kind of like what you would expect of any pig, but they also have these that come out of their rostral ridge right here. So they don't have a rostral bone ridge like most pigs do. Most pigs have a rostral bone on the end of their nose here that they can use for digging up and rooting and going crazy in grass and like totally messing up the entire enclosure and making a huge mess. Well, the babirusa doesn't have the rostral ridge here, but they do have a rostrum, which is your nose, by the way. A rostrum just means snout. So out of their snout is where the other tusks grow. So the bottom tusks on the bottom jaw stick out like this, like that. And then the top tusks come from the top jaw, but instead of growing down, they grow up and they curve up like this. And they come out of their rostral area, their snout, and they puncture through and they come and grow out of the top. What? Like, what happened? So they are really, really unique. Now, the main purpose for the babirusa's beautiful tusks, see those tusks? Ta-da! Those are going to be for show. So the bigger and more beautiful and more kind of uniform and like just larger tusks in general, the more ladies he might get. And these guys impress their lady friends that way. Another way that they might impress their potential girlfriends is by standing up on their back legs, because babirusa can actually stand up and like walk around on their back legs like a person. It's really weird. And the purpose for that is, number one, they're going to be able to browse from the trees for their food. So they'll stand up like this, and they'll be able to reach up and get some tree leaves and like bushes and things and other vegetation that they can eat, but also and fruits and things, whatever they want to find. But also another thing that happens is when they're battling for a female, they'll kind of do a little boxing match. So they'll stand up on their hind legs like this, and they'll go to the other males. And usually the ladies are like, yes, yes, very, very handsome, very strong. I might want you for a boyfriend. So that's another way that they might do like a courtship behavior, if that makes sense. Richard says, do they snort? I don't remember them doing a whole lot of snorting, but they can. They do snort a little bit. They're not super duper loud like a lot of pigs can be. They're actually very patient, very sweet pigs in my experience. And we're talking about the Babirusa. And they're just like the nicest, sweetest pig species I've ever worked with. Like, they're just amazing. They don't do a whole lot of like squealing, making noise in general. They're very easy to work with. They don't get as impatient as some other pigs. Some other pigs, they use their voice to like protest. I've worked with other pigs before too, like warthogs and Red River hogs. Those guys are very, very impatient. Like, if you're too late feeding them or they're just hungry and they want to tell you about it, they will squeal and scream and make all kinds of noises as if they're upset, as if somebody is like killing them. It sounds awful. But the Babirusa, in my opinion, was very sweet and I don't remember them doing a whole lot of vocalization, but they can vocalize. They're just not as demonstrative as some other species. Can they get hurt with overgrown tusks? Yes. So in our care, we took care of Joe at the San Antonio Zoo when I worked there. We would actually have to file his tusks because they grow like this. See if you can see me. They grow like this and they kind of circle back around to the head. So they can actually grow back into their head and hurt them. Yes, it can. Now, they generally wear them down on their, like by themselves in the wild. They're gonna, kind of wear them down instinctively. They don't want that to happen to them. But I have seen them come back around into the head. So yes, so we would take good care of him and actually file his tusks down whenever we could. He wasn't training for that, but sometimes we would do it as a medical procedure, if that makes sense. But he wasn't, he didn't have to do that very often or anything like that. But yes, that can happen. Here's a question. Can they kill a human? This type of pig is the Babirusa, and they are not aggressive. So we didn't go in with them at the zoo that I worked at, but that was just as a precaution. They're not a type of pig that would go after you and like gore you or anything like that. They're actually very, very sweet. And especially getting used to us as his keepers and things like that. They're very dog-like in their behavior, like a nice dog in their behavior. I wouldn't say that they would kill a human. I guess they could if they just like knocked you over, but they're definitely not an aggressive animal like a feral pig here in the United States. That's actually from Europe originally, but warthogs, things like that. Warthogs aren't even that aggressive either, but there are some other, of course, pig species that are potentially very dangerous. And then there's things like javelina, which aren't a pig, but very similar to pigs. And those guys are very, very dangerous. But Babirusa really aren't. And Babirusa are also very, very rare animals. There are not that many left in the wild. They're very endangered. They only live in one island system in Indonesia called Sulawesi. And yeah, they don't attack people at all. They're not known to do that. Good questions. Now, just like all pigs, they're omnivores. So they eat a little bit of everything, but at the zoo, we mostly fed them salad, fruits and vegetables, things like that, grains. But they can eat other animals too on occasion. Yeah, we're talking about pigs. That's just one animal that I've worked with in the past. So Babirusa are fantastic. If you don't know what they are, look them up. Babirusa are the best pigs ever. Love them. And they're also, like I said, almost naked. They have like no hair on their little bodies, and that is just to stay cooler in the warm climate that they live in. They don't need a whole lot of hair. All right, let's see what we got next. Oh, and then at San Antonio Zoo, I worked with marsupials. So I worked with red kangaroos, and they were wonderful. Red kangaroos are one of my favorite species too. They are very, very large. This was Kaima, I believe. Yeah, Kaima was her name. They all kind of, they do look similar. This is her, and I was just giving her salad for the day. These guys are herbivores, so in the wild they're going to eat a lot of grass and plants and things, kind of like a rabbit does. And in the care of humans, they occasionally get some romaine lettuce, and they get hay and pellets, just like a rabbit does. So very, very similar care and diet to a rabbit. But kangaroos are wonderful. They're obviously Australian. You guys know that kangaroos come from Australia. They're marsupials, but not all marsupials come from Australia. Do you guys know what marsupial lives in the United States? See if you guys can guess which marsupial lives in the United States. Marsupials have a pouch for their babies. They are very underdeveloped when they're born. They are extremely, it's almost like a fetus being born, very, very tiny. I mean, the fetus, obviously, but it's very, it's hairless. It can't fend for themselves. They have to crawl into mother's pouch to develop the rest of the way. So that's what a marsupial is. We have one marsupial in the United States. Please tell me what it is if you know it. Yay. Okay. What else do we have? And speaking of kangaroos, I also worked with something called a tree kangaroo. Oh, you're right. Richard's right. I'm sure some of you guys knew this as well. The opossum. The opossum is the United States' only type of marsupial, and they are wonderful animals. They have a pouch for their babies. Opossums can have a ton of babies, lots and lots of them, and they fit them in their pouch. And then when they get too big for the pouch, they go on the back. Opossums are wonderful animals to have around. You do want them around. They eat a lot of bugs like ticks, which actually can carry diseases, and we don't want diseases, right? And opossums cannot carry rabies. So you are lucky if you see an opossum in your environment. They are harmless to humans. Platypus is a good guess. Platypus is not a marsupial. They are actually a monotreme, which means that they lay eggs instead of having live babies. They and the echidna, over there in the Australian continent, those guys lay eggs instead of having like babies. Isn't that weird? And mom says, baby! Yes, very exciting. So this was one of our tree kangaroos, and that was her baby. Can you guys see the baby? Oh, you won't see my finger. The baby's here in the pouch. Can you guys see that? Pretty cool. So this was really, really exciting. Oh, Mary says she loves opossum. Or maybe that's Sevi. Y'all love opossums. Both of y'all do. Oh, this is interesting. They can carry fleas. They can, but they eat their fleas off of them. So they're not really a flea, like an animal that would give your pets fleas very readily. They'll eat their fleas. So they'll groom themselves and eat those fleas off of them. They eat the ticks off of themselves too. They're very, very beneficial to have around. They also eat snakes, and they eat bugs, and they eat trash. So the main reason you're going to see them in your yard is because they're finding free food in your yard, whether it be cat food, dog food, trash, things like that. So if you keep those things away, you actually will not see them very often, unless they have a shelter to live in, I guess. But they're not harmful to humans, I promise. Okay, so we have the tree kangaroo here next to me, and this was also at San Antonio Zoo, by the way, if I didn't say that. And so I worked with red kangaroos and tree kangaroos. Tree kangaroos are from Papua New Guinea. They're also an endangered species. So her having a baby was really, really exciting. We got to find the baby in the pouch. So this was Libby, and her baby's name was, oh my gosh, I'll think of it in a minute. I'll think of her baby's name in a minute, but this is Libby and her baby. And like I said, those babies are born very, very underdeveloped, and then they crawl into mom's pouch. And that's where we found the baby. And the baby was so tiny when we found her. And then she grew up into a big, cute little thing. And I'll see if, oh, there we go. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Oh my gosh. So there's me looking in admiration at the baby in the pouch. Look how cute. And she grew up to look just like her mom eventually. But tree kangaroos are really rare and endangered species. They live in Papua New Guinea. They live in what's called cloud forest. And they live up in high altitudes, and they live in rainforest. It's a cloud forest, but it's a rainforest. And they are just so precious. And there's not very many of them left, unfortunately. So having them in the care of humans is really important for breeding purposes and things like that. And we did not expect her to have a baby. She was actually with a male for a long, long time. Libby, the mom, was, but she did not breed for a long, long time. So she was kind of an older mom. And then she had a few more babies after I left too. So that was really, really exciting to find. It's always cool to find endangered species babies, especially when you don't expect them. It's a surprise baby. Pretty cool. So that was fun. Jorge says, I've not seen a tree kangaroo. They have a bear-like quality to them. Yeah, they kind of remind me of a koala, which is another type of marsupial. Koalas are not bears, but they look like a bear, right? And a tree kangaroo kind of looks like a bear too. They're kind of stout looking. They have these claws that look like bear claws, but they use their claws to climb trees. These guys are also herbivores, just like the regular large kangaroo, the red kangaroos and gray kangaroos are. They are so cute. I agree. I'll see the baby there. That was really exciting to find. So that was a really special species to work with. So there I am, just enjoying it and working with the tree kangaroo. They were one of my favorites there. What else do we have? Ooh, this is JB. I bet you guys don't know what kind of animal it is, but I'm going to let you guys guess. So he is a type of what we call hoofstock. Hoofstock just means that they have hooves. So technically a pig is a hoofstock too, but this is an animal more related to like an antelope. but he's not an antelope. So let's see if we can guess what it is. For those of you that already know what it is, try to give other people a chance. Some people out there that know, they're zookeepers and whatnot, you guys already know, and you might have already seen this animal that I work with, etc. But his name is JB, one of my very, very favorite animals that I worked with as well. He was so sweet. He would come up to you and give you kisses. Isn't that adorable? He would come over and give you a little kiss sometimes. He was super precious. But these animals are amazing. Let's go back to the other photo though, because it'll show you a little bit better what they look like. Oh goodness, there we go. And they are just so, so cool. So these guys are from Africa. Yeah, JB. My mom says, hi, JB, or aw, JB. He is still around, and he's actually a dad now. JB has at least one child at San Antonio Zoo. Pretty exciting. Not a hog. Good guess. They do have kind of a large nose. He's a little more on the antelope side of animals. He is related more to antelope and things like that. So not a hog. Good question. Good guess. We did talk about the babirusa, though, right? That's a hog, technically. He's a babirusa. That was Joe the babirusa pig. But we're talking about JB now. So these guys live in Africa. They live in forested regions and jungles in Africa. They are, I don't know how much they weigh. They're pretty large, but not the largest. You can see how big he is in this other picture, kind of next to me. I'm crouching down onto the ground. I'm actually filling his water right then, and he would come over and give me a little kiss. He was adorable. He had a big old tongue. He kind of looks like a deer, right? But he's not a deer. Kind of related to an antelope. If you guys guess, I'll be really, really impressed. Because it's not an animal that I even knew what it was until I learned a little bit about zoos when I was going to zoo school. And then here, I'll let you guys see I'm really, really large. How about that? This might be fun while I check my camera really fast. All right. So, I don't know if y'all can still hear me. Just making sure my camera's still on and everything. We don't want to do that again. So, no guesses, no guesses. That's okay. I'll tell you what he is. He's a yellow-backed duiker. Antelope deer. Very good guess. Whoops. Very good guess. So yeah, they're in the antelope-like family. They're in the kind of the deer family. Yes, I figured you did. Someone says, I already knew, but I won't tell. It's called a yellow-backed duiker. These guys are fantastic animals. They are so cool. Bongo is another really good guess. Yes, a bongo is another type of antelope, right? They have great big horns. Bongo are orange with stripes on them. They're just gorgeous. Another endangered species. So the yellow-backed duiker is what JB is here on the screen. And they are a medium-sized to small to medium-sized antelope type animal. And they're really, really cool. So the yellow-backed duiker is actually the largest of all the duikers. There are many, many different sizes. Some of them are as small as this, duikers, but they are really, really neat animals. So moving on. So he was just awesome. Like, I didn't even know I would like working with yellow-backed duikers until I worked with one, and he was just like, I loved seeing him every single day. He was fantastic. So back to porcupines. We talked about the prehensile tail porcupine, which is what this animal is here. That is Chiquita, and Chiquita is from the Texas State Aquarium. So after I went to school, that was my first job out of school when I went back to school to get my zoology, was working at the Texas State Aquarium. And this is Chiquita, another prehensile tail porcupine. Very, very cute. And speaking of porcupines, this is over at Dallas Zoo. So then I moved on to work at Dallas Zoo after San Antonio Zoo. And I worked in their animal shows department, essentially. It was called Wild Encounters. And it was an outreach company, kind of like what I do here. Or sorry, an outreach department is what I meant to say, for the Dallas Zoo. So we did stage presentations with all kinds of animals, mammals, birds, reptiles, bugs, all kinds of things. And this is Kayamba. Kayamba's still around. And he's an African crested porcupine. And he's just fantastic. And love him, miss him. But African crested porcupines are similar to the prehensile tail porcupine, like Chiquita, but they are, this one is a New World porcupine, of course. So these guys don't have, sorry, these do have the barbs on their quills. So if you were to get punctured by a New World porcupine like Chiquita here, the prehensile tail porcupine, they would have barbs in them. So it'd be harder to remove those quills. Yeah. And the African crested porcupine over in Africa, right? Those guys have really, really big quills, but they don't have barbs on the end of their quills because they don't need it. But how cool is he? Richard says, feeding giraffes at the Dallas Zoo is really cool. I agree. You can actually feed them at San Antonio Zoo as well, but Dallas Zoo has the best giraffe in the whole wide world. He is just so friendly, the big male out there. And yes, that is at Dallas Zoo. Very exciting. It's really important to support your local zoos, by the way, guys. They're small, well, they're a business that, I don't know if they're a small business, but they're usually nonprofits and they rely on ticket sales to stay going. And yes, Mary does love that porcupine. Absolutely. She sure does. She was one of his first trainers out there at Dallas Zoo. He is super duper smart and knows a lot of behaviors, very, very trainable, very cool animal that I worked with there. Very excited to work with him. Here's the opossum again. Look how excited I am about the opossum. I think somebody was telling a joke or something and I was laughing. This is Juniper, the opossum. She's no longer around, but opossums don't live very long. Opossums only live to be like 2 to 5 maybe, and that would be very, very old if they were 5. Opossums out there in nature only live to be, I mean, a year or so, maybe more. They grow very, very fast and they live fast, die young, unfortunately. So 2 to 3 is actually pretty old for an opossum, but she's no longer around, but she was absolutely adorable and made me fall in love with opossums even more. And she was fantastic, a very sweet opossum. And here is one of my favorites as well. Her name is Xena, and she is a tamandua. So a tamandua is just a type of anteater. And these guys, just like the prehensile tail porcupine, they live in the trees. So in South America is where anteaters are from, but there are different kinds of anteaters. One is the tamandua. Tamanduas are around this large. They're pretty small if they're standing up, and they have a long tail. And their tail is prehensile, just like the prehensile tail porcupines was. And tamanduas are just wonderful animals too. So what questions do we have about any of the animals we've talked about already? Do you guys have any questions at all? If you do, please let me know. So the tamandua, like I said, is just an anteater. They're just a small anteater, and they climb trees. They have a prehensile tail. They have claws, which they use for climbing. They don't have any teeth. It's one of the few animals that cannot bite you, but their defense instead is to use their claws. They have really, really large claws. Can you see her claws there? I'm going to zoom in on the claws for you guys. And she was a sweetheart, so she wasn't going to hurt me or anything. But if she wanted to hurt us, that's how they would do that. The claws are very, very, very sharp and very long and very strong. They can use them to climb, defend themselves, etc. Super cute, right? Tamanduas are really awesome. They are anteaters, so they do eat ants, but they eat all kinds of different bugs too. So at the zoo, we would feed them a formulated like pellet diet. We would actually put it in a blender with some either water or juice and make a nice smoothie for them every single day. That was their main food. And also we would feed them things like crickets and worms and all kinds of things to supplement the diet. And then their favorite food is actually avocado. So the anteater generally eats bugs, but most anteaters can also eat fruits and vegetables too. So they're omnivores. Did you guys know that? Isn't that cool? Here's a question. Does its tongue feel sticky? Yes. So the anteater eats mostly bugs out there in nature, right? They have to eat a ton of ants, and they can do so, and termites and things. But when they're eating ants and bugs, they have to be able to catch them. And if they don't have any teeth, they can't catch them with their teeth, right? So they have a very, very specialized tongue. I know you guys can't see the tongue in this photo, but it's something really cool to look up. Maybe I'll find a video for you guys. But that tongue is very long and very, very sticky. And it is about, how long is the tongue? I forget. 14 inches, I believe. It's very long, very slender, like a spaghetti noodle, and very, very sticky with sticky saliva. That's how they get their bugs that they need to eat. Good question, y'all. And do they have teeth? No, they don't. So what animal are we talking about? The anteater does not have any teeth. they have a very small opening to their mouth. It's no larger than like a pencil eraser. And that tongue will come in and out of their mouth very, very quickly and just kind of slurp up all the bugs, but they don't have any teeth. So for this species of anteater, and I believe all species of anteater, their stomach kind of does the rest. It grinds up the food for them. So they don't need to, chew up their food. And they can eat things like soft banana. They can eat avocado, things like that are already super mushy. And that way they can just eat soft food, kind of like a baby eats soft food, and also tiny food. So either tiny food or soft food. Good question. So no, they don't have teeth. They can't bite you. But instead of teeth, they have their claws. That's what they're going to use for defense. So some of the predators that might affect a tamandua out there in nature, they're in South America. So predators like jaguar, predatory birds like eagles, things like that. Or maybe even down by the water, if they're getting a drink, they might be affected by like a caiman or a crocodile. But predatory birds end up being a main predator of them. And so they will usually kind of stand up on the branch that they're hanging out on. They're usually in the trees. And they'll use their tail to kind of wrap around the bottom of the tree. They'll stand up like this and get ready with their claws like this. In fact, there's a really, really, really famous meme with an anteater going like this, says, "Come at me, bro." That's a tamandua just doing its thing, kind of being defensive. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. What else do I have? Was that the last one? Nope. So then that brings us to today. So some of the facilities, like I said, that I worked at SeaWorld, then I went back to school and I worked, let's see. Well, at school, we had the animals, right? And because I went to school at a very specialized school that had a zoo on campus, which was pretty cool. And then, let's see. Then I went to the Texas State Aquarium. And I actually worked in their bird and mammal department there and worked in their animal shows department. So they had birds and mammals there. Pretty cool. And that's where one of the prehensile tailed porcupines was. Then I went over to San Antonio Zoo and worked with all kinds of large and small mammals, including marsupials, pigs, hoofstock, all kinds of things, different mammals that I showed. And then I went over to Dallas Zoo and spent some time with them, a few years with them, and worked in their animal shows department as well, their animal outreach department, etc. Wild Encounters, what we called it. And Wild Encounters had the porcupine, they had the tamandua, the opossum, and they also had a variety of different outreach animals. So that brings us to today. Here at Once in a While, we have Sandor, our giant rabbit. You can see how large he is in this photo. This is the first day that I got him, and I was so excited to have him. He's even grown bigger since then. But Sandor is a giant Flemish rabbit, or Flemish giant rabbit, however you want to say that. He is really cool. So we do have mammals here as well. And then we've got Loki the ferret. He's adorable too. He is one of two ferrets we have here at Once in a While. And that's actually our last photo for the mammal category. And you guys saw the hedgehog. And we also have our, what do we have? Guinea pigs. Guinea pigs, hedgehogs, ferrets, and the rabbit is what we have here at Once in a While mammals-wise. So I'm going to hide this really fast. And I'm back normally. And we'll see how Laverne feels again. I have a feeling she's still not going to be excited about coming back on camera, but why not? Let's just try it out. She's so cute. You guys love her. I know you do. Yes. I know I've been going on and on for a while, but that's actually the largest, well, the second largest category that I have to talk about. So let's find another category. We're going to talk about our different animal category. How's that? She's like, not about it today. She's going to hide right under my shirt. Oh, goodness. That's okay. Sometimes animals have bad days. They wake up on the wrong side of the bed sometimes, don't they? If I get cut off on Instagram, those of you on Instagram over here, I do recommend going over to Facebook so you can see all of our photos that we're talking about, or YouTube is fine too. We're on there too. But if I get cut off, I'll start over as soon as I get cut off. Don't worry. Just to let you know. Ooh, yes. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Richard, I did work with venomous snakes before. So yes, we will talk about that. I sure did. But that was actually before I went back to school. Good question. And mammals? Yes. Yes, we talked about mammals. So we're going to go ahead and let Laverne, I guess, rest. She's telling me she is not about it today. That's okay. Animals are animals, aren't they? They do what they want. So let's talk about another category, and we're going to bring out another animal friend. Get ready for her. What are we going to talk about next? What do you think? And yes, Mom. Flamingos were also there, but they're not mammals, are they? But let's talk about birds. Let's talk about them. Good. So we have Pikachu here. She's just going to be around with me. Remember we talked about bridges? Good is her bridge. That's just the word that we use to tell her she did a good job and that a treat is on the way or something good is on the way. It doesn't have to be treats. It can be attention or something that she likes, right? Okay, so let's talk about birds. Yeah, so here I am before I finish school. Before I finish school, let her sit on my shoulder for a little bit. Hopefully she'll like that. I want to hang out on my shoulder today. And maybe I'll, or she can come down here for treats. What about that, Pika? If you want, you can come down there for treats. Or sit on my shoulder, either way. Y'all know Pikachu. She's a cockatiel. She's a Lutino cockatiel, and she is yellow with orange cheeks, which is why we named her Pikachu. Cockatiels are in the parrot family, which is what we're going to talk about first. So all parrots have a curved bill, which is designed for eating seeds and nuts, and very, very powerful, very sharp, but also curved down like this. All parrots also have zygodactyl feet, which are, would you like a treat? There you go. Which are 2 toes in the front and 2 toes in the back. That's what zygodactyl means. And all parrots have an upright stance when they sit up. That's what makes a parrot a parrot. Another treat? Good girl. Okay, so this is actually a baby parrot that I'm hanging out with in this photo next to us. So that is a baby macaw. Yeah, we're talking about birds, hooray! And birds are one of my favorites too. I love all animals, so I say that a lot. I'm like, oh, they're my favorite, everybody's my favorite. Oh well, deal with it. So this was a baby macaw. It was a blue and gold macaw that I was hand raising. So before I finished school, I actually had a job on the side, which was to hand raise some of these baby parrots. And when you hand raise them, that means basically you are the one that's their mom. Essentially, you're hand raising them, you're feeding them with formula and things. That is going to make them a lot more comfortable with people once they move on to their next home. So a lot of times when these animals are bred, we need to make sure and hand raise them and acclimate them towards humans, or else they're going to be afraid of humans most of the time. So these animals then went on to either live in people's homes, or they went on to live in zoos and be program animals. So I was helping to hand raise some of these animals, including macaws. And here's what they look like. Then I know the next photo is more macaws. As they're starting to grow a little bit more, you can see they don't really have very many feathers. But you can see the zygodactyl feet down there on the bottom. See his little toes? So the toes right here in the front, there's 2 in the front and 2 in the back. And they also have a curved beak, of course, right? And a macaw is a very large parrot. They're in the parrot family, but macaws are the largest category of parrot that there are. And the largest parrot in the world is the hyacinth macaw. But these guys are scarlet macaws in the current photo next to me. The one before that was a blue and gold. I know you can't really tell the blue and gold because it was so young. It was hard to see any feathers. You can see how sweet they are and how much they like humans after they're hand raised, right? Or during being hand raised too. Pikachu is also hand raised. So these are scarlet macaws, and also super duper cute. I love them when they're this age. I think they're absolutely fantastically adorable. But I'm also a weird animal person, so I probably, I like everything. But I actually like them more when they're like this than when they're feathered. I think they're so cute. Let's see. Richard says, I grew up with a yellowhead and blue front parrot. The blue front is still alive, has to be over 40. Yeah, parrots live a long time. So parrots can easily live into their 50s or 60s, and some parrots can live to be in their 80s. So not so much the smaller parrots. Well, I can't speak for every small parrot species, but for Pikachu here, she should be 20s and 30s, we hope. So she's going to be with fine. But my point is that parrots live a long time. So when you want to bring a parrot friend into your household, you have to make sure you either leave them in your will or have somebody that's going to take care of them after you are gone, right? Because they might outlive you, depending on your age. So here's as the scarlet macaws are growing and getting their feathers, I think they are so pretty, aren't they? And they're kind of like laying, there's a better view of their feet too. They're kind of like laying on their chest just because they're babies. They don't really have all their motor skills yet, right? So that's why they're kind of just laying there. Baby parrots, usually after you feed them, they take a nap, just like a baby does, any baby does. And they will just kind of lay down on their chest like that. Haha. Pikachu, so excited for her, I know. Birds, yes. How vocal is Pikachu? Pikachu's female, so as a cockatiel species, the females are much quieter. than the males. So I do recommend a female if you just don't like noise that much. If you're getting a cockatiel, that is. I do recommend them. They're fantastic. So she vocalizes when she can't see me. If I've gone around the corner and she wants attention, she's like, hey, come back. She'll do that. She'll vocalize when she's hungry. But other than that, she's not super duper loud. But her partner, Evie, we have Evie, the gray cockatiel, and he's a boy. And the boy cockatiels are much more vocal. Evie does talk and mimic a little bit. Not great at it, but he does talk a little bit. And he also mimics a lot of sound, as well as screeches and whistles that he would naturally make as his vocalizations. Good question. Okay, so what other birds do we have here on the slideshow? Oh, and then after I finished school, like I said, I went to go work at the Texas State Aquarium in their bird and mammal show. So that was really fun. I absolutely loved it. And I love animal training, as you guys know. And this was a Harris hawk. And we had several Harris hawks in the shows. So sometimes I got to help with their training. So when I worked at Texas State Aquarium, I wasn't full-time there. So I wasn't in their shows a whole lot, but I was behind the scenes in the shows. I also did animal husbandry, or taking care of the animals for them. And it was kind of like an internship, but it was a job. But we also got to help with training sometimes. That's where I learned a lot about animal training. So that's a Harris hawk flying to my glove there. You can see the glove. And I learned a whole lot about free flight training and how you can train birds to fly when you want to and want them to come to you. And it's basically their choice whether or not they want to fly to you, etc. And I got to use that training a lot in my career, actually. And then also at Texas State Aquarium, I worked with some of these guys. These guys are really cute. They are Araceres. This is a green Araceri, the smallest of all the toucans. So they are, Araceres are just in the toucan family. They're just tiny ones. And I really fell in love with Araceres too. Araceres are fantastic animals, very quiet. They're very personable, very smart, just as smart as a parrot or any other bird like that. Very trainable. And you can see that big bill and his long tongue. So Araceres are mostly frugivores, but they're also omnivores too. So they eat a little bit of meat and plants, and but they eat a lot of fruits. And that long bill is going to help them to pluck fruit out of the trees and things where they live. And they just kind of toss them back into their throat and eat the fruit that way. It has to be small pieces of fruit. So they ate a lot of fruits and pellet diets over at the aquarium when I worked with them. They were just wonderful animals. I loved them. And you can see how cool they were. Oh, Instagram is about to end, but I'll just restart for Instagram, you guys, I promise. And I'll share it to my story in just a little bit in case you guys have any questions or anything for me. We'll see you guys later and here in a little bit. So this is another Araceri. So the first one we showed, oops, saw everything. The first one is Vanuatu was his name. We called him Vanna for short, even though Vanna is a girl's name. He was a boy, but Vanuatu was his name. I didn't name him. I have no idea what that name means. Somebody told me and I forgot. And then BA was another one of our Araceres. BA stands for Big Araceri because he was so big. He was one of the largest Araceres I've ever seen in my life. He had a huge bill. And unfortunately, you can see where he actually had injured his bill at some point, but it grows back. So this was in the middle of growing back. But he did not let that affect him at all. He was the boss. He was a big Araceri. BA was his name. He is super cool. We loved him. He was a lot of fun to work with. You can see how personable they are and how much they like their food. They're coming down for food. And they were very trainable. We trained them to go on a scale. We trained them to be kind of held gently without struggling for the vet. We trained them to go into their kennel. All kinds of really cool stuff. Really neat. And of course, all birds are very trainable. And then after Texas State Aquarium, I got the job over at San Antonio Zoo, and I worked with a very different kind of bird. One of my favorite animals in the whole wide world is the cassowary. So the cassowary is the world's most dangerous bird. These guys are huge. They're a little bit less than an ostrich height, but they are just as dense and large as an ostrich. Huge, more or less. And they are a huge bird. They live in Australia, in northern Australia, and they are so dangerous. Okay, you guys, I'm going to share my Instagram while you guys are waiting. Hang on a minute. Share Instagram to the story so I don't forget. It's not letting me for some reason. Oh, no. Well, hopefully that shares. Sorry, you guys. Thank you for your patience. I am working Doing all kinds of different things today, aren't I? Well, regardless, we'll have the rest of the story there.
Hey, everybody out there on Instagram.
Anyway, so this is the cassowary, like I said. His name is Wilmer. And Wilmer, oh good, it did share. Hooray. Yes, okay, good. Sometimes these apps are just not great, are they? There we go, bam. Okay, guys, we're gonna start back up on Instagram again. I wish we could do it all from one place, but we can't. Hi, on Instagram again. We're back again to continue the rest of our program. Okay, and for those of you here on Facebook, I'm gonna keep talking. So yes, the cassowary is a very dangerous bird. They're very, very tall. They're from Australia. They have these beautiful wattles that hang down from their neck, which actually will swell really big and help them to amplify sound. So those wattles will actually get really, really big, and then they make these really cool noises. And that thing on top of their head is called a casque. And that casque is a great big like horn thing on top of their head. It looks like a dinosaur. And that is also arguably, it's theoried to be for sound amplification too. They're not a very loud bird. They don't make a ton of noise at all. But when they do make noise, it's very, very deep and very, very loud and goes all over the place. So you can hear it from miles. But it's very deep. Really, really cool noise. So Wilmer was an awesome bird. They're a very, they're generally an aggressive and defensive and territorial bird, which is why they're so dangerous. And cassowaries have a great big claw on they have 3 toes, and their middle toe has a big claw, and that is actually what they use as a weapon. So if they get spooked, or if they're feeling territorial or feeling aggressive, they will run after whoever is the target. Maybe it's a person. They'll run after you, and they will run really like lightning speed, really, really fast. And then they will kick like this whoosh, and use their, I know, it's scary. They're from Australia too, just like the cockatiel. She's like, I've seen one of those. Just kidding. She's not from Australia. She just, her species comes, and they'll go like this, whoosh, and then they'll cut you like this with their nail. Isn't that amazing? So we didn't go in with them. It was a protected contact situation. We would actually train them to shift inside into their inside area, shut the door, make sure it's locked, and then we would go on their habitat and clean it. But they are fantastic. It's like a dinosaur. They're just insane. And here is another cassowary. So this is a different cassowary, but it's a really cool picture that I took, I think, of a cassowary over in the Jacksonville Zoo, I believe, is where this was. So not the same individual. This is Wilmer, the one that I worked with. And then this, I don't know this one's name. I believe it was at Jacksonville, or it might be at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm Zoo. So when I lived in Florida, where I went to school in Florida, I would visit zoos all the time. So this might be the St. Augustine Alligator Farm Zoo, actually. But they had cassowaries there too, but that's just a beautiful example of that casque and the wattle underneath their neck there. So the wattle and the skin here on the face is totally featherless. So all of that is just their skin coloration of the blue and red. Isn't that amazing? It looks like a big turkey. And here's Wilmer once again. So this is kind of like, you can see it's kind of like a circle here, right? There's a circle, like a half circle here. So I'm looking through a hole like this and taking the photo. So that was like the door for the shift area, and I would basically go back there and, you know, shut the door, and then you call them in. You had like a pulley door, so you wouldn't have to have any contact with them because they're very dangerous. And he would come in, I shut the door, and then I can go out and clean for him. He was just gorgeous. You can see there's actually food all over his face there. See the food on his face? Oh my goodness. Look at those angry eyes. So angry. They are just the coolest. But very dangerous animals for sure. I didn't always work with animals that you can handle. I learned a lot working with cassowaries and all kinds of other animals that you can't touch. For sure, for sure. Okay, let's see. And then I worked with the close cousin of the cassowary at the same zoo at the same time. At San Antonio Zoo, we also had emus, and emus are like very, very sweet versions of the cassowary. Those guys, of course, they could possibly kick you and things like that if they really want to, but emus are known to be very docile, and they're also a rat-tite, just like the cassowary. So cassowaries, ostrich, emu, rheas, and actually the kiwi bird, the tiny little kiwi bird over in New Zealand is where they're from. Those are all rat-tites. So rat-tites are flightless birds. They're all in the same family category. And they're usually very large, except for the kiwi is the weird one out of the group. I believe there used to be more before they went extinct as well. But ratites are, generally speaking, larger birds that can't fly, like the emu, ostrich, all those guys are ratites, and the cassowary too. Who's causing a commotion down there? I think it's Laverne. She's running around downstairs. Oh goodness. So this was Fred the emu. He was just a sweetie pie. You can see I can actually touch him. He would follow me around while I was cleaning. I'm actually cleaning in this photo. I have a rake here, and I'm petting him right here. I just kind of like give him a little pet as I walked by, and he was very, very sweet. So this one you could go into the enclosure with. He was perfectly fine to go in with. Yeah, and he was honestly kind of in love with all of us keepers. He didn't have his partner wasn't around anymore, so he decided to adopt his keepers as his mates, which, you know, is good and bad sometimes. But he was very, very sweet. He was not my mom says he was in love with you. Yeah, he kind of was. It was really, really cute. Okay, so what else? Oh, and at the same zoo over in San Antonio Zoo, we have some cranes, and this is one of my favorite species too. I know I say that about like every animal, but it's true. I wanted to talk about some of my favorites today, right? So this is Fraser, and he's a crane. Hope you guys get the name. I didn't name him. I wish I could take credit for that. So Fraser crane was a, and still is, a East African crown crane. This is an African species of crane, very, very tenacious, very, very territorial as well. They do fly. They're beautiful animals, and I actually got to work with East African crown crane again after working with Fraser and some other cranes too. I also worked with the same species over at school. They had them at school too. That was I think my first opportunity to work with them. And they are just beautiful, the most gorgeous cranes ever. They have that beautiful crown of feathers on top of their head, which is actually for camouflage. So Pikachu has a crest of feathers, right? You want another treat? Here, have a treat. She has a crest of feathers, but that's for different reasons. It's more for communication. The East African crown cranes and all crown cranes, there's two different types, the East African crown cranes and the West African crown cranes. One's black and one's gray. Are you leaving? You want to come down here and eat some snacks? That's fine. Why don't you eat some snacks? That's a good idea. Eat some snacks, Pika. So that crown of feathers on the crane's head is not for communication. It's up all the time. So whether they're feeling sad, feeling happy, feeling territorial, feeling love, whatever, it's always there. But it's for camouflage. So they live in very, very tall grass, especially during the nesting season. That's going to actually blend into the tall grass. And Fraser was just a beautiful example of an East African crown crane. And then when I went on to work at Dallas Zoo, I worked with a whole bunch of trained birds, which was really, really fun. I say trained birds. The ones at San Antonio were also trained to do a few things, but they were not show birds or program birds. So when I went over to Dallas Zoo, I got to work with several show or trained birds. You're making a huge mess, my love, aren't you? You're going to finish this food in no time, aren't you? She loves her snacks. You guys see her? So anyway, we have Helena. Helena was a black stork, which is a pretty simple name, right? These guys are an amazing species. Helena was a very, very old lady, and unfortunately she passed away during my time at Dallas Zoo, and that was really, really hard to lose her because she was so sweet. She loved ladies. She liked females for whatever reason. I believe she was a hand-raised bird. That makes sense. And she was probably hand-raised by ladies. So that's why she liked females. But she was trained to do a few things on stage. This is her up on one of the stumps so everybody can see how pretty she is. So that was Helena. This is Logan. Are you spinning around in circles, Pika? Have you lost? You ate all your food in like 2 seconds. So this is Logan. He's a barn owl, which is a local species you can find in the United States as well as all over the world. Barn owls live everywhere except for one continent, and that is Antarctica. So they're a very widespread species. Logan was fantastic too. Logan was kind of a challenging bird to work with. Barn owls are a little bit skittish as an owl. Most owls are pretty laid back. They're actually very, very cool to work with most of the time. But Logan was very challenging. He was very skittish. He only had like small attention span. So it was definitely a challenge working with him, and I learned a lot from working with Logan. But as you can see, we became good friends, and I got to work him on glove and everything like that. And he was free flighted, so he had to wear equipment outside so he wouldn't leave because birds of prey sometimes will fly off. But birds of prey have very strong legs, so you can put anklets on their feet. You can see his little feet have anklets on them. And maybe if I zoom in, you can see a little bit better, huh? That's me, and there's Logan's face. See the anklets around his ankles? Those are just little leather bracelets that they can wear on their legs. And then they have little little miniature leashes called jesses. And then I'm working him on a leather glove because he's a bird of prey and he has talons. So we want to make sure that I don't get hurt by his talons. But he was fantastic. Barn owls are very loud. They're like a screeching banshee. They make very, very loud screeching noises. You can usually tell what owls are in your area by the sounds that they make. And barn owl is very, very, very obvious when they're a barn owl. If you hear it once, you'll never forget it. They scream like a very high-pitched lady screaming. It almost sounds like a monster. So that is a very, very easy way to tell you have a barn owl around your area. Barn owls are white. So they oftentimes will live inside of hollow tree cavities or barns. Barn owls live in barns, right? That's where they got their name. And barn owls have to seek shelter inside of something to be able to, they're white, so they stand out. If they were out on a tree branch, just on a tree, they would stand out and get eaten by other predators. Even though they're a predator, they have predators too. And barn owls don't live very long because they do end up getting eaten by a lot of other predators too. Very, very cool. And the care of humans, they can live a lot longer though. And then this guy right here, he's a vulture. This is another local North American species, but these guys are only found in the Americas, to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone. Maybe Mary can look it up for me. But the black vulture is what this is. So black vultures are found all around Texas. And I believe they're only from North America, but they're found in like the South United States and also Central and South America, I believe, but not in the old world. There are vultures all over the place. Are you leaving? She's gonna go get the snacks that are over there on the table. That's fine, she'll come back. Vultures are fantastic animals. Vultures, like the black vulture, have a great sense of smell. Black vultures, and I believe, and I know turkey vultures have a really good sense of smell. So we'll just talk about turkey vultures. Turkey vultures have the best sense of smell ever known to man, even better than any dinosaur, even better than any animal that we've ever known. Pika. She's down there on Instagram. You guys can see her little back. Come back up here. Whenever you're ready, it's fine. Or it's a casual talk today, right? She's just doing whatever she wants. But this is Baldwin, the vulture. And Baldwin was a young vulture when we got him. He was only, I don't know, not even a year old. And just a fantastic animal as well. Let's see what other pictures I have of Baldwin. He would fly to our glove and everything and fly wherever we asked him to. He was a fantastically trained bird. Here he is again. It's a great photo of him. We have a question here. How long do vultures live? It really just depends on the species, but vultures are pretty long-lived. Yes. I have to look that up for you to have a good answer, but they can live a long time. They can live into their 30s, 40s, 50s. Some of your like condors and larger vultures I know have lived a long time, 40s, 50s, 60s, longer than that. So something to look up though, because I don't know for sure what the answer is. But look at Baldwin. Look how fantastic he was flying to us. What a cool bird. And vultures are bald, right? We called him Baldwin for a reason. And they're bald for a reason. And that is to help their heads stay nice and clean from their food, which is carrion. So vultures eat dead things, as you guys may know, like carrion and roadkill and things like that. But in order to stay cleaner and to stay more sanitary, they have a bald head because it's really hard to clean your head. When you're a bird, you don't have like a washcloth and stuff and you don't have hands. So when birds clean themselves, they'll preen themselves, but they can't reach their head very easily unless they have another vulture to help them, I guess. Pika. Oh, I went too far. Oh, no. Here we go. Accidentally hit a button. There we go. And having that bald head is just really, really convenient to keep cleaner. Just helps them to stay more sanitary. But yeah, that's one reason. And vultures are really cool. They're fantastic birds. Very important as well. Just like the opossum is an important animal to want around, vultures are also extremely important because they eat dead things that have even gone rotten and things like that. And they can eat those animals even after they've decomposed, gone rotten, have diseases, things like that. And vultures can actually eat diseases, and then when it comes out the other side, it is clean. So after their digestive system works and does its thing, when the poop comes out, it's actually clean in the environment, which is very, very important, right? That helps us to get rid of diseases and things like that. And then at Dallas Zoo, I also worked with some guinea fowl. These are really cool birds. They're ground-dwelling birds from Africa. They're kind of like little chickens. you want to come sit on my shoulder again? Yeah, that's good. They're like little chickens. They're really fast. They run really, really, really fast. And that is handy when you live in Africa. But these birds here, they were Lorraine, Claire, and Knob were their names. That's their name. And they were trained to kind of follow us around and run and do programs out on the zoo grounds. That was really fun. They're very, very loud birds. When they want to scream, they scream at the top of their lungs and they make really neat noises. But they are awesome. I really liked working with them. I also worked with guinea fowl over at the San Antonio Zoo as well. We had some of them living with our larger animals like hoofstock. And they're still there to this day. I don't know if it's the same individuals, but they still have guinea fowl at San Antonio Zoo living with some of their animals. That's called mixed species exhibiting. Oh, she wants to go back down here for snacks. Okay, I'll give you some more. Just a little bit longer, then we gotta go back. I think she's pooped on my shoulder as well. That's how birds are. They gotta go, they gotta go. So birds don't have a bladder. Most birds, to my knowledge, all birds, don't have a traditional bladder, so they can't really hold it very long. So she has decided to go on the back of my shirt, which is fine. It's Friday, I'll wash my shirt and it'll be clean by Monday, right? So guinea fowl are cool. Also at Dallas Zoo, a lot of Dallas Zoo birds because they had a lot of birds in my department, which I did not complain about because they're fantastic. This was my favorite owl to work with. His name is Ziggy. And Ziggy is a Eurasian eagle owl, the largest and heaviest species of owl on the planet. You guys want to guess how much he weighed? You guys can guess how much Ziggy weighed. He was just fantastic. This is Garth. Garth is a, what is he? Hadada ibis. I almost said Aldabra ibis. That's not right. Aldabra tortoise is what that is. Hadada ibis. And Hadada is basically the sound that they make. It sounds like Hadada! That's what they named them in Africa. I did not name that bird species. They're very loud when they want to be, and then quiet when they're not loud. They're either loud or quiet. They're really cool. Ibis have a long snout like this, a long beak, right? And that's for probing into mud and into streams and rivers to find fish to eat. That's what they use. 3,000 pounds. Good guess. I'll let Mary tell Sevi how much Ziggy weighed. We'll see if they come back and tell me. That'd be fun. 7 pounds. Very good guess. Very, very close. So birds are very lightweight. Even large birds that fly anyway, not the rat-heights like the emu and the cassowary. Those guys are heavy because they don't fly. Ostrich, all those guys. But birds that fly are very, very light, and you can hold them. So if holding him on a glove like this, I'm coming back, I promise. Holding him on a glove like this, guys, I'm coming back, I promise. So sorry about that. Something we're working on. So the camera only lets me record for 30 minutes. And then if I forget to hit record again, which I'm going to right now, it stops. Isn't that fun? Oh my goodness gracious. We'll probably edit that part out when we upload it. Anyway, I'm back. And so is Pikachu. Yeah, our camera has a mind of its own sometimes. Oh, I'm doing all the things by myself. Maybe one day I'll have an assistant that can help me. Who wants to apply to be my assistant? Please be my assistant. Anyway, yes, I know that. I know. So yes, 3,000 pounds. Yeah, that's a quite a heavy bird. That would be very heavy, like I said. That's pretty funny though. 10 pounds. Good guess as well. 8 pounds. Sevi, what does your mom Mary say? What does he weigh? We weighed him in kilograms, so we'll guess in pounds. If Sevi's still there, she's going to tell me. Okay, so this is Garth. Once again, Garth only weighed, I don't know, 3 pounds? That'll give you a clue. This was also a beautiful animal that we worked with at Dallas Zoo, and we worked with a few of them. My favorite was Penny. But Penny, and this bird is not her, but it's a photo example of one that I took at another zoo. This is a, what is it? I'm losing my mind. It's a ground hornbill. A southern ground hornbill. So hornbills are birds that come in different sizes. We work with small ones and large ones and everything in between. This is the largest type of hornbill in the world. They are pretty large. They're about this big. When they stand up, they're really, really big, and they have a beak that's really, really big. Beautiful bird. One of my favorites as well. and they have that apteria. Apteria means an absence of feathers on a bird. So a vulture's head is all apteria, no feathers, right? Naked. And these guys have a big patch of apteria on their face and on their throat and everything like that. And that's all red. By the time they're mature, once they get past the teenage stage, these guys have a red apteria, that skin on their face. Pretty cool. Sebi, if your mom is still there, have her tell you how much Ziggy weighed. I don't want to give it away. And then here's a wonderful species. It's the Caribbean flamingo. Oh my goodness. This is Aruba and Jamaica. We actually had 4 flamingos at Dallas Zoo that I worked with. They were Aruba, Jamaica, Bermuda, and Bahama. And they are Caribbean flamingos from the Caribbean, which is why we named them that. Now, I didn't name them that. They came with those names before I got there. But whoever did was very clever to name them that. So this is Aruba and Jamaica. Caribbean flamingos are amazing. Please ask questions about flamingos. I love them. So do you guys know what makes flamingos pink? Do you guys know what makes them pink? They're fantastic birds. You guys can tell me. And they are beautiful and wonderful birds. And there's flamingos all over the world. They live in Africa. They live in South America. They live in the Caribbean. They're fantastic. And this girl right here is my favorite bird of all time. Her name is Tyrone. I didn't name her, so I apologize for her name. She was a girl, not a boy. And Tyrone is another East African crown crane. But as you can see, she's not in an enclosure, is she? So we're working with them free-flighted. So she did live in a home. She had her big enclosure that she lived in most of the time. But when we worked them on programs, we would take them outside and fly them. And she was asked to fly all the way across the elephant and giraffe habitat, and she would fly back and forth and do beautiful programs and eat for us, and she was just fantastic. These guys are very, very tall. You can see how tall she is, and her wingspan was huge. So these guys are, I mean, amazing birds, and it was such a privilege to work with them. So about the flamingo, yes, let's go back to our flamingo photo. That is true. The food they eat. Yes, you are right. Do you guys know what they eat to get pink? So y'all know it's the food. Let's see if we can figure out what they eat to get pink. It is not what most people think. So this is Tyrone, the East African crown crane. Yes, she was so beautiful in person. I agree. She had a huge wingspan. There she is coming in for the landing on the other side. So on this side is actually the what we call the release side. It was on the opposite side of the elephant and giraffe habitat at Dallas Zoo, and that is where they flew to the program side. So on the other side is where the guests got to see them really close, and that's her coming in for the landing. And she's just so beautiful and perfect. So back to flamingos. Shrimp, that's a good guess. It's the most popular guess that I get when I talk about what they eat. But they don't eat shrimp. They eat brine shrimp. So flamingos have to filter feed. They have a very specialized bent bill. Let's see if we can zoom in just a tad. So flamingos have a very bent bill, then they eat upside down. So they'll throw their head all the way upside down into the water. Sometimes they put their head underwater. Sometimes they just skim the surface. And they have little tiny kind of ridges inside of their bill. They're almost like little teeth. And they will pump water in and out of their mouth with their tongue very, very fast and filter feed. And they'll filter feed with that system that they have in their mouth. So they have to eat very, very, very tiny animals. So shrimp, like we think of, like a prawn, that's way too big for a flamingo to eat. But they can eat brine shrimp, which are very, very tiny, almost microscopic animals. They eat both plants and animals. And they're omnivores. So they eat all kinds of almost microscopic and microscopic items when they eat out of the water. They filter feed. Pretty cool. But not shrimp. It's not that. Good guess, though. But if you think about shrimp as a species, they're not pink in the wild. So most shrimp are clear or brown or something like that. They're not like the color when you cook them. They're only, most of the prawns and shrimps that we think of, they're only pink whenever you cook them up, right? So, and flamingos are certainly not cooking their food out there in the Caribbean where they live, although that's a very, very cute image, right, of them cooking shrimp on the Barbie. They don't. So not a shrimp, but that is a very good guess and a very popular guess. That's what most people think that they eat to stay pink. but it is not. So let's see. I'm going to give you guys more time. We still got one more animal category. We're going a little bit on the long side today, but we're going to quickly go through our final animal category here in just a little bit. So now when we come to today, we've got, of course, Pikachu, who's here with me today. I can't talk, y'all. It's like a tongue twisting day for some reason, y'all. And we also have our doves. This is Ozzy and Sharon, our two ringneck doves. Ozzy and Sharon also have two children named Kelly and Jack as well. You guys might have caught them on another program that I did. And I know Elsa has seen Sharon before. She's a beautiful, beautiful dove. So those are some of our doves in our programs. Pikachu is also in our programs, and there she is in this photo. And what other kind of animal are in this photo? We have another animal category coming up, right? So I think I need to get rid of these crumbs. Pikachu's like, no, don't get rid of my crumbs. I'm gonna shake the whole table too. So who can guess what makes the flamingo pink? I'll give you a clue. How can I give you this clue without giving it away? By the way, the owl, the answer for the owl, he only weighed about 5 or 6 pounds. So very, very lightweight for such a large bird, isn't he? Mind focus. Mind focus. Mind focus. Guys, tell me if I'm in focus. Better, better. Okay, I feel like I'm an eye doctor sometimes. Better, worse, better, worse. So now we have another animal category. Let me put this photo on the screen for you guys so I can check my camera. If you can still hear me, great. If you can't, I'm sorry. For those of you on Instagram, I'll be right back. You gotta change batteries sometimes. It happens. So sometimes we get dead batteries. And that's what was happening just now. Thank you for your patience, everyone. You're a fantastic audience. Why? Yep. Be right back, y'all. So, unfortunately, my camera is not working. So, unfortunately, my camera has decided not to work, and I don't know why. But we're going to do our best, aren't we? Yes, and we're live. I know. I'm sorry about that, you guys. You guys are so patient and wonderful. Yes, you are. So, I did promise we had one more animal category. So let me go ahead and get all that together for you. I do apologize. What other animals do we have in this photo? So yes, the owl was around 5 or 6 pounds. The flamingos, oh, they get their pink from something in their diet, which is actually blue-green algae. So the algae in their diet is what makes them pink. Isn't that weird? So they actually have a carotenoid, which is found also in carrots, which is something that we eat too, right? So we eat carrots. And but the flamingos will eat algae, and in the algae is a carotenoid vitamin, which makes them pink. So the more carotenoid they get, the pinker they are. Isn't that cool? Hope you guys can see me and hear me. So what other animals do we have in this photo with me right here next to me, huh? We got some reptiles, don't we? So let's talk about reptiles. Somebody asked me about venomous snakes. So I will tell you all about that. Pika, you've done a fantastic job. But it's time to say goodbye because I have to bring a reptile out here and you guys are not friends. Reptiles and birds a lot of times don't get along. So we won't make them mingle. But I've got a really cool reptile. I'm going to wash my hands really fast. And thank you guys so much for being so patient. I'm sorry about the camera situation. Something we can't help sometimes. Can you guys see me okay? Okay. Good thing our purple background is out because it's non-reflective, so we can use it with either camera, which is fantastic. So yeah, let me brighten up my light a little bit more. Ooh, yeah, it's a little bit better. I told you I need an assistant. This is ridiculous. Okay, we're making it work. So we've got some reptiles coming out. Let me switch our little slideshow to a reptile slideshow. That would make sense, right? And here we go. There we are. So for a reptile, we need a reptile. For a reptile presentation, we need a reptile. It's Prince. He's back. He's so cute. Let's see if I set him down here. Maybe we can lower this and you guys can see him a little bit. Maybe. While we talk about reptiles, if not, I can just hold him because he's so small. So for those of y'all that haven't met Prince, he's a ball python. He's a Pastave ball python, which is a Mojave and a pastel mixed together. It's a type of color that they come in. So this animal in the photo, though, is definitely not a ball python. This is a rattlesnake. Her name was Trinity, and she's a neotropical rattlesnake. And she is one of the animals that I used to work with, and a beautiful species. And yes, I do have venomous snake experience. Do not handle venomous snakes if you do not have training to do so. There are certain ways to handle them, which will keep you safe. And we do not freehand them. I was never taught to never do that. And we use tools and equipment to work with them safely. And we don't handle them unless we need to handle them. But they are wonderful animals. A lot of people don't like venomous snakes, but they're actually one of my favorite animals because they are very beneficial to humans in the environment. And you may be thinking, why would they be beneficial to humans in the environment? If they're dangerous, they are dangerous. But our information. Let's put our information down below while we're talking. That is our Venmo and website and phone number and all of that scrolling down below. Prince is looking at right now. So yes, venomous snakes are very important to the natural environment because they are predators in the food chain and they eat rodents. And rodents can cause lots of problems for animals like humans and other animals around them because rodents can carry diseases and parasites that make people sick and make animals sick. So if there are too many of those sick rodents or rodents full of parasites out there in the environment and we have no predators to keep them in check, we might get sick too. So snakes are very, very important. If you ever see a venomous snake, I do recommend not harming it and instead call a professional to, number one, help you identify the snake. A lot of times when people look at a snake, they don't know what it is and they assume it's something, but it might be something else. And you might just be able to just leave it alone. I recommend leaving all snakes alone regardless because they are very, very important. Please let me know if I'm still on. And you guys can see me okay. Sorry about the technical difficulties. But this was Trinity, the neotropical rattlesnake. I worked with her before. This is at school. And this was a indigo snake. So this is an eastern indigo snake when I was going to the Santa Fe College teaching zoo for school. And I don't remember his name or if he had a name. I don't think he did. He was a breeding individual, but as you can see, very, very handleable as well. Indigo snakes are known for their handleability. Okay, good. I'm glad you can see me. Thank you. and a very large colubrid. So the pythons are like ball pythons, for example. Pythons are constrictors. Boas and pythons and things like that, they're constrictors. Colubrids are another category of snake, and the largest colubrid in the United States is the eastern indigo snake. They are solid black. They reflect all kinds of beautiful iridescent light, and they're just fantastic animals. As you can see, very handleable. Kind of like a big king snake, but even more sweet. Now, like the king snake, though, the eastern indigo snake will actually eat other snakes, including venomous snakes, and really anything that comes into their path. They are carnivores, of course, like all snakes are. And eastern indigos are not picky eaters in the least. They will eat eggs, they will eat fish, they will eat dead animals, they will eat live animals, they will eat birds, they will eat mammals, they will eat other reptiles like lizards, and especially other snakes. They are really fantastic. A beautiful species that you can find right here in the United States. And they are non-venomous to people, and as you can see, very, very docile, naturally. Now, I don't recommend you guys going and picking up any snake because, number one, it might be a dangerous snake and you just don't know. So we don't want you guys getting hurt. But you can also hurt the animal too, right? So we want to make sure that you guys don't hurt animals. We're not about that here at Once in a While. We definitely want you guys to protect animals and want to save animals, not hurt them. So going after animals in the wild, picking them up can accidentally hurt them or on purpose hurt them, right? We don't want to encourage that at all. So please don't pick up animals in your natural environment or your backyard or anything like their natural environment, I should say, unless you know what you're doing, okay? We don't encourage that. But this was at school, and I was in training to be a zookeeper at the time. So we were working with these indigo snakes. Pretty cool. So this is another animal that I worked with, and this is over at Dallas Zoo. So fast forward all the way to Dallas Zoo. At San Antonio Zoo, I did not work with reptiles except for my own reptiles. But out at Dallas Zoo, we did have reptiles, mammals, birds, creepy crawlies, all kinds of cool animals in our shows. So this was a really cool animal. This is a dwarf crocodile. I believe this is Gimli. We had Gimli and Thorin, the African dwarf crocodiles. I didn't name them either. I wish I could take credit for that. These guys get around 6 foot, which is still pretty large as an animal, but as a crocodile, that is a dwarf species. So if you think about like a Nile crocodile, those guys are really, really huge, right? A dwarf crocodile only gets up to like around 6 foot. And that's only males, by the way. Crocodilians, male and males are a lot bigger than female always. But this was a dwarf crocodile, another endangered species, which I got to work with. And he got to teach all kinds of people about his species as an ambassador animal. Isn't that cool? Very, very cool animals to work with. They're very feisty. Crocodiles have little pores all over their body, which are like sensory organs, and they can sense movement in the water and things like that. That's what they're for. And crocodiles have them all over their body. Alligators have them only on their snout. So alligators tend to be a little bit more laid back than crocodiles. Crocodiles are very sensitive. This was Sunny, one of our tortoises over at Dallas Zoo as well, in that department that I worked. He's a radiated tortoise. He kind of reminds me of our tortoises here, the red-footed tortoises, but it is a very different species. And Sunny was a very personable, sorry there, Prince. He was a very personable and sweet animal. Very cool. Another endangered species. We had quite a few species at Dallas Zoo that I got to work with, and San Antonio Zoo and other places that I have the privilege of getting to know and work with. And endangered species are in zoos a lot of the time to be able to teach people about their species and to teach you how you can save them. That's very important because they're worth saving. And this was a blue-tongued skink. I have a blue-tongued skink here at Once in a While, but this was Tilly, the blue-tongued skink, over at Dallas Zoo, and we're both sticking out our tongues, aren't we? So the blue-tongued skink has a blue tongue, and she's demonstrating her beautiful tongue. That's a type of lizard from Australia. You guys can learn more about them with our blue-tongued skink BT. And that's actually all I have today. I've worked with many, 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 many more animals than I talked about today. Maybe we'll do this again, even though it kind of went awry there at the end. I'm sorry about that. I guess our camera just had enough. We'll fix it before next time, I promise. We have the whole weekend to fix it. I've worked with many, many animals and tons of reptiles. Reptiles were actually one of the first exotic animals that I ever worked with. I got to work with them in the pet trade, and I got to work with them in the private sector. I got to work with venomous species and learn how to do that. Reptiles are kind of my first love. So there were many, many more. I just didn't want to go too long. I've already gone way over time. And you guys have been a fantastic audience. If you have any more questions, please be sure to let me know. And I would love to answer your questions. We are now offering Zoom room animal encounters. I have a few of them scheduled for next week, and I'm really excited, and this week, I think. Zoom rooms are great for parties. If you guys are missing out on seeing your friends and you want to have a little birthday party or something like that for your kids or for your adults, you guys can basically schedule a Zoom room animal encounter. That's going to be virtual just like this. But the difference between the Zoom room and this is I pick the animals for the live streams, and you get to pick the animals for the Zoom rooms. You can customize how long that we hang out with you guys, and it can be a short encounter, it can be a long encounter. And to find out more details on all of that, you can give me a call or a text. My number is scrolling down below. For those of you on Instagram, you can contact me through Instagram, or you can contact me through Facebook, or go to our website, onceinawild.com. You can request a call back there, or you can use my number. Like I said, the number is also on the website. And we can give you all the details on your Zoom room animal encounters. Those are really fun. They've been a lot of fun. I can see your faces on those and get to know you guys and answer your questions live. And also, we are always accepting tips via Venmo. This is a free encounter that we offer as a live stream, right? But we also appreciate any tips via Venmo at Once in a Wild. And we also accept of course, donations to our Amazon wish list. So over on our website, onceinawild.com, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom of that website, and you can click the box that says donate to our cause. That's actually just our Amazon wish list, and that's how you can donate items there. It'll take you right to the list, and you can pick an item if you want and donate to us, and it comes right to us via Amazon, which is fantastic. We still need items to be able to feed the animals like Prince and Pikachu and Laverne, even though we're cooped up right now. We still have to feed the animals and everything. So that's very much appreciated. But you guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much for your patience. It's a longer program than usual. And I know we had some camera difficulty. It's live. So what are you going to do? Luckily, we had a backup camera, which is the laptop. And friends can say hi in the laptop camera right now. Oh, he's so cute. Prince the ball python. We have 3 ball pythons here at Once in a While right now. They're really, really cool snakes. Very, very sweet. So you guys have been fantastic. Thank you again for coming. And if you left early, I understand, because it's been a long run this time. I hope you guys enjoyed learning a bit about other animals today and a little bit about me. We'll do it again sometime. It was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed doing this and teaching you guys about tons of animals today, right? I know we went through them very, very quickly. So if you guys have any questions of any kind about any of the animals that we learned today or otherwise, or you want to just tell me your favorite animals and comment in and let me know how you're doing and everything. We love you guys. We thank all of our friends, family, and followers for always supporting us, especially during these hard times. So you're greatly appreciated, and you're very welcome. Some people are saying thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's been a lot of fun, and we hope to see you guys on Monday. Remember, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3:30 p.m. Central Time until further notice. So we hope to see you guys again on Monday, and I promise it won't go nearly as long as today. This was kind of an experiment today, so that was fun. But anyway, that's how you find things out, right? That's how you learn. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. We will, as always, close with our song. How about that? We are not because you're ordinary, but we love to be your friend. Hold our hands and let's have fun together, singing as loud as you can. Singing once in a while. Once in a while. Singing once in a while. Let's have fun together. Singing once in a while. Together. Once in a while. Singing once in a while. Yay! You guys have been fantastic. As always, don't you think, Prince? I think Prince is fantastic too. All right, we'll see you guys next time on Monday at 3:30. And of course, we ended our program with Michael the Jackson Chameleon. All righty, guys. Bye. See you next time. And for those